The brand new season for World of Tanks Modern Armour is currently out right now, and of course they've released the full update notes, and there's some very interesting things that aren't necessarily all good, but there are a few good bits in here as well, and we'll cover them in today's video. If that sounds good, make sure to like it, and of course let's jump in. So first things first, obviously the new season brings out a whole new season pass. We've covered it in the previous video that we've done on the channel. If you haven't already seen it, you can go and have a look at that one, which will cover everything that you need to know about the actual season pass, the rewards, the new tier 10 and the new Detente era premium that are available in the ultimate and the season pass, as well as some of the actual premium vehicles that you can pick up in both the free and the normal season pass. So in terms of the other kind of content that we're getting with this new season, we've got the return of Wide Park, very small map, really small one, and it's available between tiers 3 and 8. I am surprised that they went as high as 8, because usually it really only works up to tier 6, and I wouldn't be surprised if this gets dropped down to tier 6 again instead of having it at tier 8, because it's such a small map to the point where like the fighting within the map is very limiting as to what you can actually do, and some of the classes are just pretty much pointless, especially if you're playing things that are reliant on camo, since you're so close to the opponents that if anyone crests the mid-ridge, especially a light tank, there's no real way of you actually being able to not get spotted for the most part anyway, and there's barely any bushes either. So not bad for heavy tanks and something like a medium with a decent turret, but for most other things you're not really going to have a great game, which is going to be really frustrating for anyone trying to get their 3rd mark or 4th mark or whatever. This map kind of does suck quite a lot. For the higher tiers at least, and playing those different classes. So yes, the new map is coming back, or returning map, you guys get the drift. It's the same as we've always had with regards to the map content coming in. It's just old maps that we previously had before update 6.0, which seems like an eternity ago. Genuinely, it must have been like 3 years ago, maybe even longer than that. It could be 4 years, I don't even remember at this point. But MVP update. This is an update to the display of 2D commanders, so now you can display a 2D commander in the MVP screen. So you can see right here, you do have that 2D commander, and on the right hand side as well, and of course the standard like 3D commanders as well, obviously showing up as normal. You've got brand name and logo update, which yep, they've changed it from World of Tanks console to World of Tanks Modern Armour, and yeah, it's to reinforce our identity within the World of Tanks family, staying true to the game you love with a fresh new look. So yeah, pushing out the Modern Armour version, kind of, yeah, I guess, because it's the only World of Tanks variant at the moment that actually has the modern vehicles in it, even though most vehicles in World of Tanks are beyond World War II anyway. But either way, that is kind of what they've done. They're rebranding now to Modern Armour officially, so that is what it's going to be from now on instead of console. I mean, everyone's going to know what you say when you say World of Tanks console. To celebrate this occasion, all players will receive one set of vouchers of our new Modern Armour 2024 themed camouflage upon login, which I would assume is this one right here. So it looks kind of cool, kind of nice. It has, of course, some emblem and logo for World of Tanks Modern Armour on it. So that's that. Changing the PEGI rating, so that's going from 7 to 12, so it's going up in rating. Not really going to affect much, I don't expect. I mean, who looks at PEGI ratings anyway nowadays? Barely anyone. I assume it's more legislatory as to what it will affect and what they can sell and stuff like that. I don't know. It's probably just going to let them do more things, at least for the audience that pretty much play this game, because we all know that 7-year-olds probably aren't playing World of Tanks and are probably playing Fortnite or something in that regard. Anyway, moving forward, you've got the UI updates, which is the user interface update. So they're changing some of the things. So various UI elements have been updated. They've added Marks of Excellence filter to the Garage Tank filter options. So now you can filter by Marks of Excellence. I believe it's only really going to show any tanks with a Mark of Excellence, as opposed to like 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 marks, 4 marks. Yeah, not particularly too interested, as I feel like having the ability to actually look at what ones are marked at what percentages is probably a better way, as in like I want to see what tanks I have 2 marks so I can get the 3rd mark on it or whatever. That would probably be better, but maybe that'll come alongside. But still, it's an addition. I don't think anyone's going to complain about it. Added a context menu when interacting with the tech tree, so you can view the details, preview the tank and purchase it. Added a filter to the tank's stats page as well. Yeah, nothing particularly too interested. Added a premium AP ammo icon, so now you've got premium AP as opposed to standard AP. Updated the premium tank earnings panel to split the base XP and premium vehicle XP bonuses, so you will now see the actual them two separated. Updated the highlight box in the loadouts panel, updated a flag art on the nation banner menu in the tech tree, updated the tech tree backgrounds for World War II and Cold War, updated the background art on the season tab, and updated the Minnesota and Utah state flags to their new official flags as well, so those will be in the game. Remove scrolling element from the following areas, so filter, camo, upgrades, recruit, blah blah blah. HUD updates. Reticle lead marks, horizontal lines to the right and left of the reticle have been re-added to the camera reticle. We plan to improve this further based on feedback to help assist players in leading moving targets more effectively. Yeah, maybe it does. I mean, I don't think I've ever really paid attention to where the reticle is really, other than the fact of where the circle is to begin with. It's not a huge thing for me in terms of being able to perform, and it certainly isn't going to make you a way better player because of the fact that you can now have some horizontal bars on your reticle, but maybe it looks cooler. I don't care. It doesn't bother me, and it's probably not for me anyway. So, as a player, that is. We also updated the alternate mechanic icons to include a specific icon for dual barrel tanks and adjusted which icon displays for various other modes for consistency. So, you've got new icons for dual barrel, turbo mode, drive mode, and siege mode. Auto siege transition speed update. With the introduction of the Type 63, we made adjustments to its auto siege speed activation to be 25 kilometers an hour instead of 15. This was widely well received by you, the players, so we've decided to adjust all auto siege tanks to now have an activation speed of 25 kilometers an hour, which includes the UDES, UDES 16, UDES 15-16, and the T95E2, STB1, and the Wind of Arrakis, which is that German tier 8 premium, which was like part of the June thing that went on, June event. Then, of course, we've got the balance updates. So, yeah, this is where the video starts to get interesting because we get a whole host of updates to some of the tanks that are already in the game. This is the final wave, apparently, of the balance updates that we've seen. And let's take a look at the first one. So we'll look at the tech tree vehicles first, so you get an idea as to what they've done to some of the tech tree tanks that maybe you want to go back and play or whatever. First one, we just a kind of initial bit. I'm not going to look at tiers 1 to 3. I don't care, and pretty much most people aren't going to care about tiers 1 to 3. You can pause the video or go slow enough so that you could pause it if you want to have a look, but I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to suggest people play tier 3 or anything like that. And yeah, it's just not my kind of game. And it's very boring, in my opinion. But starting off, Covenanter, been some changes. It's essentially getting some buffs to both its dispersion and its also accuracy, reload time with both the howitzer and the pom-pom. And yeah, for both turrets that you can have available to that. So not too bad. Electo. So I believe this is the one that goes faster backwards than forwards, which is an interesting tank, and it's kind of backwards vehicle. Repair cost has gone down. I mean, it is what it is. And then some terrain resistances have got slightly better, with dispersion getting slightly better. And your max health has gone up by 15, so going to make a world of difference that. The accuracy's come down with the howitzer, and also the AT field gun as well has gone down, and they've updated the physics as well of the tank. The Grant, same sort of story, where they're just updating and buffing kind of bits about it, but At tier 5, we start to see some of the more interesting changes. So Churchill 1 getting better terrain resistances probably is needed. That tank has been, it was very good to begin with when it was first in the game, when there weren't so many kind of low tier 6 premiums that were super overpowered, because it could actually bounce things. And with the increase in pen that we've seen of the lower tier vehicles, the Churchill 1, the Churchill 7, and all of the low tier Churchills have been pretty bad, because they do just get penned by a lot of things now, because they are coming up against things that have like 200 and something pen at tier 6, which is ridiculous. And yeah, not so good in that department, but they've just made it slightly better terrain resistances, so going up slopes and stuff like that should make it slightly better. And they've also improved the accuracy as well. Sherman 3 getting some buffs to its camo by the looks of things, or maybe even a reduction on its camo. And they've also, I don't know, it seems like an improvement. So it's better while still and better whilst moving. You've also got better dispersion and rotation speed, view range, and better reload time as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to complain about it, but will I jump into the Sherman 3? Probably not. Archer, better rotation speed, better shot dispersion, and better aim time and accuracy, so that'll be good. That's the backwards one, which you can see here. It literally goes faster backwards by a considerable amount. 12 forward, 32 backwards. It's an interesting tank, and probably one you should at least try, even if it isn't the most effective in the game. Crusaders getting buffed as well, same sort of story. We won't go through every single individual one as to what they're doing, but it's basically accuracy improvements to a lot of the low tier vehicles. The Bishop, that tier 5 artillery that everyone probably loves if you play tier 5, is getting buffed. Yes, better rotation speed and dispersion, and better view range, as well as better accuracy. Doesn't everyone want a buff to the low tier artillery, which are already very, very strong? Tier 6, you've got the Sherman Firefly getting some buffs to its accuracy, reload, aiming time, blah blah blah. FE43 or FE304, so that's the Burt, the artillery piece. This is also getting a buff. It's better rotation speed and better accuracy, which is kind of crazy, but that's only accuracy for the lower turret, so the turret 1 as opposed to turret 2, but it's also getting better view range as well, so yeah, it's going to be even more sneaky. The Churchill 7 getting better rotation speed, accuracy, and yeah, seems like that's basically it for all of the different variants that you can use of it. Tier 7 Comet, it's getting better rotation speed and accuracy on all of its main armaments as well, so pretty good in that department. Comet was quite a good one. AT-15, better terrain resistances, and yeah, that is literally it, so it should be able to turn slightly better on all of the different types of terrain, which I think is pretty big, as the AT-15 is a pretty good tank when you learn how to play it properly and when you play it aggressively with a couple of teammates. Carnarvon getting similar sort of buffs. Its rotation speed is going up massively. It's going up by like 30% basically, which is pretty big, from 22 to 28, and that is on chassis 1, chassis 2 having a similar sort of story, and then you're getting better reload time as well, which is going to make the tank even better. I thought the Carnarvon was in a fine place. Don't know why they feel like buffing it even more. It's not overpowered or anything like that, but there's no need to overbuff things all of the time. Otherwise, you lead to the same story which we were at, where there's like everything is just supremely overpowered, and some of the ones that didn't get buffs are just absolutely garbage. So yeah, you kind of want a good balance of both good vehicles and average vehicles, but making everything ridiculously fast firing, it's just not that fun for longevity of games and stuff like that. FE207, the artillery, also getting buffs like the previous. Centurion Mark 1 is also getting buffs to its terrain resistances and its accuracy. Conway is also getting some buffs to its terrain resistances and its reload on the BL 5.5 inch, the big one. And the FE215B183 is getting some essentially buffs to its dispersion, so it'll be better, and rotation speed's going up, and the reload is coming down in the FV 215B, that is 183, so the big Death Star, and also the dispersion is coming down as well, which means it'll be more accurate. So Death Star buff incoming, or is already here, and the FV 215B also getting some more buffs, considering that it did get buffed not too long ago with its armor, but they're improving shot dispersion, reload time, and the accuracy as well. But they've missed out the one crucial thing that I really am annoyed about with regards to this tank, which is the ammunition, because it's still got a limited amount of ammunition, which it could probably deal with a bit more, because I think the max damage you can deal, I think it may have like 40 rounds or something, which 35 rounds, which means you're capped at a maximum of about 12 or like 13,000 damage, something like that, which might seem a lot, but when you consider that some of the best games in a tier 10 tank can get up to like 11,000 damage, it means you cannot miss basically any of your shots to have like that ridiculous game, which, let's be real, not that many people actually ever go above 10,000 damage. But if you were to get to that point, you don't want to be limited on ammo as to whether you can win the game. I just don't think that that is a good thing in video games. You should not be limited by a ammo count in a game where you cannot go and pick up more ammunition or anything like that. So yeah, please give this tank like 45 rounds. It's huge as well. It's not like, yes, it might be realistic to what it was actually like in the world, but let's be real, there's like tanks with flaming skulls on it at this point. So what are we talking about here? Manticore. Now this is probably the most controversial thing that has happened in the game. This tank is probably the worst light tank that I've played in terms of tier 10 light tanks. I think it is very, very bad. In terms of for the average player, I really enjoy playing it. I think it's a fun tank to play, but it's not that great. You know, it could probably do with a buff. So Wargaming nerfed it. Yep, they nerfed the Manticore. So the tank is obviously doing way too good in the hands of people that it deserved a nerf, and not just a little nerf, a nerf in a lot of areas, which means your terrain resistances are about 10% worse, which is not good. Your rotation speed is now 42 as opposed to 45, so a nice little 10% nerf there. Shot dispersion, also another 10% nerf, actually like 12.5 or something like that. So thank you. Turret rotation speed going down as well. Thank you. View range going down. One of the key benefits of playing the Manticore, which was its view range, is now being made worse than a lot of the other light tanks. I guess you do 390 damage. Hang on a minute, doesn't the Sheridan do 400? It's faster, and yes, it might be bigger, but it does have spaced armor, which means it bounces more, and it doesn't have such bad terrain resistances, at least like for the size of it, and its rotation speed isn't being nerfed. That kind of sounds a bit suspect. I didn't know that the Manticore was so overpowered. But hey ho, what would I know? I've only played like 40,000 or like 30,000 battles in total on the game, and quite a few in the British light tanks. But hey ho, Manticore overpowered. That's what it is. I'm sure some statistics out there somewhere has said that it was overperforming. Maybe that is, I don't know, the fact that very few people play it because it's the majority pretty bad, and so yeah, maybe that is the reason why. Who knows? But yeah, maybe it's because the few who are better at the game play the tank, or maybe it's because of the fact that the tank is played so low that it can be skewed by averages or whatever quite easily, because it isn't that often played and is going to be even less played now with these nerfs. What a terrible idea, I think, in my opinion, to nerf the Manticore. Like, hello, I don't think anyone was complaining about the Manticore being too good in the game. But there you go. I guess we don't want to play the terrible tanks, so let's make them worse. UK premium tanks, so there's quite a few. I start off at tier 5, Defiance Matilda, better terrain resistances, accuracy, and reload time. Grizzly M4 as well as the Sherman Grizzly getting better repair costs and better accuracy and dispersion and pen on its standard rounds by like 5. Matilda Black Prince, better ammo. Hey look, a tank that actually got given more ammo. There's a surprise. Tier 6 Sentinel AC4 getting buffed. So its terrain resistance is better and the dispersion is better and the reload time's better and the accuracy is better. AC4, same thing. It's the same tank. FE201A45, so this is like the tier 7 Centurion Carnarvon hybrid thing, which is also getting the same buffs as all of the other Carnarvons basically and Centurions, same as the black version of it. Centurion or Carnarvon Action X is also getting a buff to its terrain resistances and also its dispersion during rotation. Paladin Carnarvon Action X also the same buffs. And then you've got the HMH FE305, so the artillery, the premium, also getting buffs to its camo. So yeah, brilliant. Centennial T95 also getting some buffs, rotation speed and dispersion. Senlac getting some buffs. Okay, cool. I thought I just saw that the Senlac was getting nerfed. That was a bit of a shock, but don't worry, it's not. It's getting some slight buffs, but nothing too spectacular. Becky Lynch also getting buffed, which is the same as the Senlac, but a skinned version, and the Huntsman Centurion, same as all of the other Centurions, basically. So that's what's being changed. There's some low tier burst changes. They're all low tier, so we won't cover them, but you can pause the video right now if you want to see them in detail. Just some of the low tier ones that have the autoloaders. USA Tech Tree tanks, we got starting off at tier 4, wherever that is. T40, some buffs, as you can expect with all of the previous ones, just basically accuracy and terrain resistances with some buffs to max health view range. M5 Stuart, same sort of thing as all of the previous with some buffs to view range. And yeah, nothing spectacular there. M3 Lee getting some love. It's been a while, my friend, but yeah, that's getting some buffs as well. M10 Wolverine buffed. T67, please do not tell me it's getting buffed. No, it is actually getting nerfed, which is good. View range is going down, aim time is actually going up, and the reload time is going up. So they're nerfing the hell out of this thing, which is great because it's been so overpowered for so long, which is good. The T1 Heavy, now this was a tank that I actually think is very, very, very strong in the game, played by an experienced player, but they've buffed it. So they've made it even better than it already was, which I think is probably not something that they needed to do. It was probably in a decent place. M7, you've got terrain resistances, blah, blah, blah. M4 Sherman, also same sort of thing. And then we've got all of the Sherman variants, which are basically terrain resistances and accuracy and reload. M36 Jackson, same sort of thing as mentioned before. And then the T37, which is the tier 6 light tank, that is getting some buffs, which is nice, should make it slightly better, and its engine's getting buffed as well, so it should be slightly faster, which is kind of good. T21, really, really fun tank. I love playing that little tier 6. But yes, terrain resistance is going better. View range is going up, making it the same as the Manticore. Whoa! This tier 6 has the same view range as a Manticore. That's surprising. But yeah, you can see I'm not butthurt whatsoever about them nerfing the Manticore. But yeah, concealment's getting better, and also your reload and stuff like that. Tier 7, T71 DA and the CMCD both getting buffs, with the CMCD getting better top speed and the DA getting the increased horsepower. And the same with the CMCD, except it's just getting a buff to its top speed. T20, this tank did not need a buff. It was so good, but they've made it even better. So yeah, it's going to be ridiculously good now with better aiming time, better accuracy, and increased view range as well. So, T25/2 was a tank that is actually not so bad as I originally thought it was, because of some of the buffs that they'd done a while back, and I'm talking might have been like a couple years back. But the view range has gone up, and the rotation speed, and the reload and accuracy, etc. So much better now. T25AT, also getting buffs to its armor, so it's slightly better armor now, which might make that tank actually be able to bounce something, but probably still not. But also you're getting the same sort of thing with regards to its gun, having a better reload time, etc. Then we move on to tier 8 with the T28 Prot, which is getting better hull rotation and dispersion, as well as some armor buffs to panel 1 and panel 5. Doesn't really tell us a whole lot about what those panels are, but they're getting buffed, and one of them, especially panel 5, is getting buffed from 203 to 254, which is pretty big. So the prop might actually bounce things again once again. So I'm wondering if one of these might be that turret flat weak point that is no longer a weak point now, but we'll have to test it in the game. T28, this tank was absolutely one of the best tanks in the game, but they've made it even better. Oh my lord, the non-turreted TD, so the slow one. It has got a reload nerf, but they've added an extra 20 damage to it. So this is going to make the tank incredibly strong and be able to outtrade a lot of things as well. So the T28, the non-turreted, you have to play. Genuinely, that tank is one of the most surprisingly OP tanks I think I've played in my life. It was so good when I played it. Like, genuinely, its camo is ridiculous, and it has one of the fastest fire rates and DPMs out there for a tier 8. It is really good, and it actually bounces rounds since it's no longer like what would the T25 AT is like at a tier lower. It's actually got armor. M41 Walker Bulldog, they've improved the health of both the stock turret and top turret, and improved the horsepower, so it should be better. T69, same thing to accuracy, and they've also improved the clip size from 5 to 6, and the reload only went up by 0.2, so that is a pretty significant DPM buff right there. And yeah, aim time better, accuracy better. That was of the first one that you get, the 76mm, so doesn't really mean a whole lot, but maybe the stock grind is slightly better. And then the 90mm has got a better reload time and accuracy and aim time. M26 Pershing was a fantastic vehicle that is actually so good, but they buffed it even more. Hull rotation speed is better, and the accuracy, reload and aim time is also better. Tier 9 T95 also getting a increased reload time, but they're buffing the alpha to 420. This one is probably actually a DPM nerf for the T95 with the smaller one, the 120mm, just because of the fact that the reload has gone up by like 5%. Maybe it's literally the exact same, but don't know. It probably still is a nerf in terms of the reload time, because it's gone up by 0.06, which is about like 14%, not 14%, about like 8%, something weird like that. Whereas the damage has only gone up by 5%. So overall, you'd probably be dealing less damage per minute. T30 getting better armor. Holy damn. It's gone from 203mm to 279, I would assume, on the turret. The hull rotation speed from 20 to 24, and the terrain resistances from 3.9 to 3.1. So that's very nice to have. And then your reload, aiming time and damage of the 120mm has also gone up, as with the previous. M46 pattern, all of the same buffs as the previous. M103, they've also improved this tank considerably with all of its stats, basically improving the armor and hopefully that kind of forehead of the M103, which was just awful to play with, and the cheeks of the M103 are very bad as well. So they've got some significant improvements, apart from panel 18, wherever that is, that's gone from 152 to 140mm. Tier 10, the Sheridan has got a buff. Nice to see that the Sheridan has now got a much better turret rotation speed than the Manticore. Its health has gone up to 1700, its reload time has gone down, and its accuracy has also gone up, and its aim time has also gone down. The 152mm has also had a better reload and a better accuracy and a better aim time. So just to put things into perspective for you, the Sheridan is a tank that will kind of compare stats with the Manticore, for example, just on a pure stats basis. Obviously that doesn't mean the most when it comes to tanks, but if I grab up wherever the hell the Manticore is, these articles do span a ton. But essentially the reload speed of this thing, wherever that is 14 seconds to do 390 damage, or you can do 390 damage in 9.2 seconds, which has come down even more. So you essentially have like nearly double the reload speed on the Manticore as the Sheridan, and your hit points is 300 less now, and your top speed is basically the exact same. Your view range has gone down from 400 to 390 compared to the Sheridan, which is at 420. So, yeah. Premium round penetration 268 on the Manticore versus the 280 on the Sheridan. So, yeah, I'm not really seeing why you would nerf the Manticore, to be honest, and why you would buff the Sheridan at the exact same time, but hey ho. Anyway, going back all the way down to the bottom here, we can find ourselves the other ones. So the M48 pattern got a slight health buff, and also the reload time. T57 Heavy getting a increase to its whole rotation speed, and its reload time has also gone up, but its damage has gone up. So it's 420 damage now per shell of the T57 Heavy. So you can deal 1680 damage in a clip, which is pretty big. And the reload speed only went up by 1 to be able to do that. So it's not huge. Accuracy is better, aim time is better, should just generally be a better experience to play the T57 Heavy. And then, of course, the T110E5 also got the same changes to its 120mm, going from 400 damage to 420. And it also got a health buff from 2200 to 2400, and better accuracy as well, and terrain resistances. And then some premium tanks. I will kind of go slowly at the first ones. If you want to pause it and have a look at them, then you can, but maybe we'll just go straight into tier 6 or something, where the interesting stuff actually lies. But it's basically all of the versions of like the Shermans and stuff. The Roswell, the TS5, these are all getting buffs similar to the 120mm. So basically any tank that has the 120 from the American line has gone to 420 damage instead of the 400, and that's the same for a lot of vehicles. T92, so the light tank, has got better horsepower and its reload's gone down, and same as the Falcon T92. The Chrysler K got better hit points and a better reload time and accuracy, same as the HMH Chrysler K. M46 pattern Deathstalker, better reload speed, as well as better whole rotation accuracy and aim time, and the pattern Korea, and then T42 also same sort of changes. AE Phase 1 has actually got a reload time nerf, but obviously got the same changes to its damage. Accuracy and aim time are better, same as the premium kind of skinned version, the Fangula. TS60 getting some changes as well as with the previous. Double tap TS54 is also getting some changes. This one to its top speed of its ammo on the standard rounds, going from 950 to 985. Whole rotation speed going up as well, and the terrain resistances being better, and the health going up by 60. And the double shot cooldown timer from 3 seconds to 2.5. Tier 10 premiums, T58 Heavy getting better hull rotation speed and aim time and terrain resistances and turret rotation speed. The M40A2 getting the same changes to its gun, as well as more health and better hull rotation and turret rotation speed. The MBTB also getting the changes as well. And then we move into the Soviet vehicles, and I will take a break because my voice is hurting at this point in the video, so I'll join you back in a second. Now, at tier 6, we have the T3485, which has got a better repair cost. Its health has gone up, its reload time has gone down, and its aim time and accuracy have gone down. Its max health with the turret, the second turret, has also gone up, and the reload time and everything has gone down. So yeah, should make this tank slightly better, but it isn't with the 85mm, so don't worry, it's the 76mm and 122, so the derp and the smaller one, so nothing spectacular there. SU8, we have some buffs to rotation speed and accuracy, etc. So that's the artillery. The MT25 getting better view range and accuracy on the first turret and reload time, etc. Tier 7, we got the T43, so that's getting better terrain resistances as well as better accuracy and aim time. So the T43, that's the Tier 7 medium for the Soviet line. It's been a long time since I've played this vehicle, at least like a lot, because that was one of my first Tier 10s. So yeah, that tank has probably not aged very well, and I would assume that these changes are probably not going to do a whole lot to the tank. SU-152, they've changed the terrain resistances and the rotation speed, aim time and reload speed of the tank as well, so it should be better. IS, they've actually reduced the repair cost as well as increased the health and increased the reload time of the 85 and 100mm, as well as they've also improved the rotation speed. So yeah, much better on that one. But luckily I've already 4-marked it, so yeah, we can not have to worry about that tank. The Tier 8 Object 416, better repair speed, better health, and the same sort of thing as what you saw with the IS, basically. We've got the IS-3 getting better terrain resistances, better view range on the IS-3. It's going from 350 to 370, which is quite substantial for a heavy. SU-101, which is a tank that was actually pretty decent. I enjoyed playing it. I don't think it's overpowered or anything like that. It's probably on the average side, but they were improving the health, so could be an interesting one to try out. ISM, I don't think whatever they do to this tank is going to make it that good, because you can just play the normal IS, but this one is getting better terrain resistances and aim time and reload. SU-14-2 artillery, same sort of thing. LTTB, we're seeing better terrain resistances. No speed boost or anything like that with this one, but it didn't really need it anyway, because you'll probably end up just on your side even more than you already do with the LTTB, because it's so narrow that as soon as you make a quick turn, it just decides that it's going to roll over. But rotation speed has got better, which is... that could be a bit of a problem with regards to turning too quickly over a hill or something like that. ISU-152, same sort of thing as the SU-152, where it's just basically better aim time and accuracy with better view range. T-44, same sort of thing as the T-43, but obviously a tier higher. And yeah, that's basically the only thing. Terrain resistances and accuracy and aim time with a bit more health. The Tier 9s, the only couple, there's a few of them here. We got the 257, which has got a better reload. The 705 also getting better terrain resistance of reload. Seems like they're just going with just increasing everything's reload by a minimal amount. I don't really get the point in it. But yeah, maybe they're kind of moving forward the power creep, or taking back some of that power creep by buffing all of the tech tree tanks and some of the worst tanks in the game, to avoid that kind of disparity between some of the premiums that were released on the game. I'm only speculating. Of course, that doesn't mean that that is necessarily true. But yeah, it's potentially an option or something that you should kind of consider when we're kind of looking at these sorts of things. And I think it could be that sort of thing going on. But of course, I'm not wargaming. I don't know what they're actually doing here. T54, same sort of thing as T50 or T44. IS-3-2, so this is the dual barrel, also getting some changes. The most notable one is the auto advance mode, which is going from 5 seconds or 5.5 on the 122 BL9 to 6 seconds. And the all fire mode going from 4 to 4.5. Tier 10 Object 277 is slightly cheaper to repair, as well as terrain resistance is getting better and the health going up. So that should make the tank even better than it already is. K91, better terrain resistances and rotation speed, and its accuracy is better with its dispersion. And then the ST2 is getting better, actually worse dispersion, as well as slightly worse accuracy, slightly worse reload, so it's getting a nerf, the ST2. I don't know how I feel about it. Didn't play it enough to actually give you a good opinion on it, but I don't think it's particularly, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it did deserve a slight tweak to it, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the Soviets, at least in terms of the higher tiers, is basically all of the variants of the tank that we've already talked about. So the ISU 152 variants, the ISU 130 is getting also some buffs, which is a very, very good tank for those of you wondering. I'd recommend trying it out. And then, like, you know, the Guardian STG, probably more of the different one. which is just basically getting some more speed to make it in line. And then the tier 10 premium, the Object 780, also getting some changes as well. In terms of Cold War balance updates, I don't really want to go through them all because I'm not that knowledgeable when it comes to Cold War anyway, so I don't want to give you false information as to kind of whether things should have got a buff or nerf or whatever, but I know that they have changed the FE 4005 and gave it basically worse camo and just made some changes to it by both basically just making it worse in a lot of regards with some slight tweaks to make it slightly less of a nerf, if that makes sense. But it's just getting some speed nerfs and that sort of stuff, and a reload increase and accuracy nerf as well, and an aim time nerf as well. So that's kind of probably the only one I'd really want to speculate on. All of the rest of them, you can kind of pause the video or whatever as we go through, or go back and pause the video if you've already gone past it. But yeah, other than that, Garage Gear, new Garage Gear, it is Garage Gear. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that is. And then some issues were changed as well and addressed. So if you want to pause it here and take a look at them, then feel free to do so. But I'm not going to get into it. It's just some slight changes as well as some maps. They're kind of the boring bits where it's like a rock was in the wrong place or whatever. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully it gives you a breakdown of some of the tanks, and let me know what you actually think about some of those balance changes. Is there any glaring ones in there that are like, oh my god, they've buffed an already overpowered tank, or they've nerfed a tank that definitely didn't need it, like for example what I think as the Manticore. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it once again, and I will see you in the next one coming soon. Goodbye.